exchange.
Yes.
Are you surprised by this sort of turnout here?
Yes, yeah, for me it is a great surprise. I didn't expect that it can go this much. But I know people, we have gained over subscription. Yes, so I think it's also beyond my wildest expectations. Yes.
Tell us a bit more about the business model. Where do things stand right now? I mean, in terms of the real world use of your robots, can you tell us a bit more about what the industrial automation world looks like for you now?
Yes, I think the China, 14 years ago, when I just started my company, the China robotic players only account for 3% of the market share domestically. So at that trend, our robot companies highly depended on the performance of our downstream customers. If they have a high demand, and we can go better. So at that time, the automation lines for car industries, it dominated the market. So at that time, we have the big four houses, that is ABB, Fanuc, Yaskawa, and Kuka, and they are specialized in the car industries. But nowadays, especially consumer electronics dominate the market. So this gives us a chance to come up with the competitors. And because the requirement for the different industries is quite different. Yeah. So we build more smarter, more faster, more lighter, and with higher precision robots to use for the consumer electronics. So that's why we can come up with the foreign competitors and gain a market share.
On the note on foreign competitors, what's the international strategy, especially given some of these geopolitical concerns in the backdrop?
Yeah, basically we have two main strategies to go into the international market. The first one is to follow our big customers, because we have some already existing customers in China, like the Lens, Gore-Tex, or Foxconn, this kind of customers. And they also have factories overseas. And normally when they expand their foreign factories, they will recruit their existing suppliers to help them to build the automatic lines. And the second one is to hire some distributors in different countries. We already have 7 existing distributors all across Southeast Asia, Europe, North America, Australia, etc. So, and we will, use our 10% our net proceeds to expand our network overseas. So, which will help us to, sell more robots into our foreign customers.
One of our guests earlier highlighted Malaysia, Thailand when they look at Southeast Asia as markets. I wonder, what is your sense of which pockets in these markets have most potential for your business to grow?
Yes, we already have many, customers in Vietnam, Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, this kind of, and also Indonesia, this kind of Southeast countries. And normally, our robots is helping the consumer electronics lines and also the food and beverage lines and also some daily chemicals lines. And we have just launched an automatic warehouse in Malaysia, which works very good. And I think since the Southeast is also the market of Southeast Asia is also booming, and which gave us a better chance to help them, directly get into the automatic line and escape the human labors.
Yeah. Tell us a bit more about the supply chain. I mean, how dependent do you think is China's robotics industry to U.S. technology components, for example, when it comes to like sensors, software tools, and the like?
I always think, the U.S. Talents have some gift to, invent some, brand new things. For example, start from this, big data and VLA, and they started in Silicon Valley. But our Chinese people also have the talents to scale it up, right? So we can follow the trend and make our own techniques.
Yeah.
So
how much of your supply chain is now domestically based?
We can do 100 domestically based.
You can. Okay.
Yes.
Wow. In terms of just overall the competitive landscape, right? There's so many robotics companies coming through here.
Yeah.
I mean, there's obviously the humanoid space as well, but everyone's talking about hundreds of these sort of companies that are emerging in China. Do you think it's a bit too crowded?
I think it's a normal, normal pattern. And you can see in other industries this happens a lot, right? But time after time, there will be some dominant players, and there will be some merge and acquires, and also, and I think maybe in 5 or 10 years' time, there will be some big players like the past 4 big houses existing in China, and we are a company focused in the light industry, and we are an all-inclusive robot body and solutions suppliers. And I think we are on the right track and on the right path. Maybe we hope we can become one of the big players in here.
What about the path to profitability? What does that look like for your business?
Yes, and we have some very crystal clear paths to the profitabilities. The first one is to increase the sales ratio of our robot bodies because we have many kinds of robot bodies, and the gross profit margin for the robot bodies is better than the solutions. And since we can sell more amount of our robot bodies, and we can benefit from the economy of scales, and also can improve our and we can also build our automatic lines, which is use our robots to build our robots. And the second one is to increase the high-tech products. For example, our semiconductor products is one of the example. We have launched a whole series of our wafer handling robots, and all have the TUV certificate of S2 certificate, and they have a better profit margin. And the third one is to go deeper into the foreign market and to help the overseas countries to improve their automatic level, and which can give us a brand new market.
You talked earlier about how your supply chain can almost be 100% domestic. I wonder how much are you expecting your export numbers to account for the business, say, 2-3 years for now? What's the ratio going to be like? Last year, 10% of our revenues is acquired from the foreign customers, and we will increase the number this year. Maybe, let me guess, maybe increase by 1 or 2%, maybe to our 12% of our revenues this year will be coming from our overseas customers.
Would you look into humanoid robots?
Yes, of course.
You're interested?
Yes, we have launched our humanoid robots last year, and we give it a name called Whole Gene. Yeah, it's a whole new gene, right? Whole new gene, I love it. Yes, a whole gene. And our humanoid robots can work side by side with our traditional industrial robots. Because our industrial robots can do the fast and precise and rigid things, but we also need some versatiles and flexibilities, and for this part, humanoid can add a better value for this part because they can learn, right? They can only maybe listening to oral instructions or maybe just mimic the performance of the human beings. Yeah, and can do it by it all. Yeah.
All right, using robots to build robots. I love it. Zhang Sai, thank you so much for joining us here. Zhang Sai, they're chairman of Robotphoenix Intelligent Technology. They're just listing today in Hong Kong.